Hello everyone, hope you're all having a wonderful day, and today guys we're going to be going over a new explosion build inside of Remnant 2. Now this build is going to be utilizing the Archon and the Summoner classes, so we can try and mod spam as much as possible, and to do as much damage as possible with our mods, so you can just sit back and watch everything get destroyed. Now this definitely is not the first Archon or Summoner class that you're going to be seeing on the internet, alright, I know that, but a lot has changed since the recent balance patch that Remnant 2 did receive. So I thought I'd just make this video to put all the updated information in there and also show off some really cool interactions that became available because of the new balance patch. So what makes this build so good to use? Well, of course we have insane damage, but you didn't see that one coming. We do really good explosion damage with our mods, so we're able to vaporize just about anything that comes in our way. Bosses, aberrations, mobs, you name it, they're all getting sent to the Shadow Realm. And on top of the amazing damage that we do have, we have fantastic AoE and also really good crowd control. Once you get a feel for this build, you are never ever going to get overwhelmed by enemies ever again. We also have some pretty decent survivability with our traits, and also Summoner having the summoners to aggro a lot of the enemies for us. And then the one biggest negative to this build is that you're going to blow yourself up, okay? It's going to happen more times than none. You are going to be your biggest enemy when it comes to this build. I have dumbed down on amplitude to stop that from happening. We do have the kinship trait to also stop that from happening, but you're still going to whip your explosion mod out and you shoot it and you realize that you just maybe might be a little bit too close and you kill yourself. So as long as you're happy with blowing yourself up, then well, this build is probably for you. Alright guys, so moving on over to the gear and traits, of course we are using the Archon and the Summoner classes for this build. The skills that we are using is Chaos Gate. While you are standing inside of Chaos Gate, you will be getting that 50% damage increase, but with the recent balance patch, Chaos Gate kind of did receive a bit of a nerf, because now when you're outside of the big red circle, you're still going to be receiving that damage debuff. So now Chaos Gate is very high risk, high reward. You're pretty much a glass cannon, but that juicy 50% damage increase is oh so worth it. It can definitely get claustrophobic in that red circle, so if you're someone that can't dodge to save their life, you're probably not going to enjoy Chaos Gate. The 50% increase to all damage we'll talk about, but it does double dip a lot with this build. It is going to be increasing our status effect, and it's also going to be increasing Energized Net Coil's damage. Yes, we are using Energized Net Coil. This amulet now is ridiculous. And of course for summoners, we are just using minion flyers. You can use whatever you want. You can try and explode your summons if you want to. It does do pretty decent damage. I wouldn't rely on using that. I'd much prefer having my summons out to try and aggro a lot of the enemies for me. Feel free to use whatever summon you want. I just feel like the flyers are the best option to go. Now for the armor I do have, I basically was wearing whatever looks good as always. I've only got 2 points in the strong back. You don't really need strong back. I just like it so you can just wear heavier stuff, so you can have just that little bit extra survivability. But if you are someone that knows how to play the game, know how to dodge the enemies, I feel like, armor is the least of your worries. So I do have the Crown of the Red Prince, I do have Crimson Guard Plate, I do have the Crimson Guard Sabatons, and I do also have the Fey Royal Vambraces. And then for the heart we are taking the Quilted Heart. Now the main reason we're taking the Quilted Heart is on use, you get infinite stamina. It is amazing. This is just going to allow you to run away from the enemies easier without having to deplete your stamina, get some good positioning, and just drop all your explosive mods on them and just watch them all die. The other good thing about Quilted Heart is when you evade now, you do get 15 health back, which is very good. Just an overall good relic in general. For the upgrades I am taking, I do have increased elemental damage, increased to mod damage, and then also a negative 10% to mod cost, just so we can just get our mods just back a little bit quicker. Moving on over to the weapons, there's a little bit to talk about here, but for the first weapon I do want to talk about is the Pulse Rifle Long Gun. Now the main reason we're using the Pulse Rifle is because we are taking the Witchfire mod and also the Feated Wound Mutator. The main reason we want this mod and Mutator is because of its high status effect damage. This is going to pair up really well with the Energized Net Coil. If you guys do not know, this necklace did recently get fixed and now it has been buffed essentially. So if you are using the Energized Net Coil, the main thing you want to focus on is taking the mods and mutators that do the most amount of status effect damage, because that is going to make the explosion from Energized Net Coil the most amount of damage it can do. So the Witchfire does 6,786 damage over 40 seconds. This is going to be our main way we want to try and proc energized net coil with the pulse rifle. And then if the enemies are at distance, that's where Feated Wound comes in. You kind of pick them off at long range, get those explosions happening, and just try and nuke them at distance. You could also use Twisting Wounds, but I think Feated Wounds just edges out a little bit on damage, but overall the damage is pretty much the same, so just feel free to use whatever you want. And the next weapon I want to talk about, and I love how the name is like just cut off at the top there, is the Corrupted Aphelion. Corrupted Aphelion's mod works really well with the energized net coil as well, doing a whopping 6,300 burning damage over 40 seconds. So just like the Witchfire, it has a really big dot, which is going to make energized net coil explode for even more damage. Now the feedback mutator has been changed. It got fixed or buffed, I'm not exactly sure, but I know it did get a change in the balance patch. But now when you use the feedback mutator with the Aphelion's mod, you're pretty much going to get it back instantly, which is going to be really good, so you can just continuously keep mod spamming the Aphelion's mod, which is very strong. And it can also knock back a lot of aberrations and also bosses depending on what boss they are. So the main reason I do talk about the Aphelion though is you're going to be using this weapon when the Witchfire can't reach bosses. The Witchfire cannot reach a boss, then that's when the Aphelion comes in. So the bosses that come to mind, like the Hive Mother, you'll probably have to use it on Annihilation, maybe even Venom. Like certain bosses that are just flying around or that you can't hit with Witchfire, Aphelion is going to be your way to go. For our melee weapon, we are using the Krellax. Now the Krellax alone isn't really good for energized net coil. It does not proc on shock or overload. Don't know if that's a bug, if it's intended. Not 100% sure on that. It feels like it might be intended, I don't know. As soon as you go and slap the Tainted Blade mutator on the Krellax or any melee weapon for that matter, it's going to synergize insanely well with the energized net coil. Now the main reason we're using the Krellax is because you can friggin' throw it from distance, so it has a massive advantage there. But if you look at the Tainted Blade, it applies 9,000 acid damage over 80 seconds. So when Tainted Blade procs with energized net coil, it's going to do big damage. So again, I've got this on the Krellax because we can throw it at range. There's plenty of other range melee weapons you can use, so feel free to use whatever you want. And then last but not least, for the handgun, I bet you didn't see this one coming, it's the Starshot. Now I think it's no surprise to anyone, the Starshot is an insanely strong handgun. The mod on it is ridiculous, especially if you build into it, and that is what we have done. So now with the new change to Summoner, they did change the Dominator damage perk passive, and they included explosive damage on here. So now if you use a mod that does explosive damage, and there's a few of them, it will now double dip with Summoner. It will be scaling off mod and the explosive damage. So technically, when you use Big Bang, when you use other explosive mods, you're getting 70% increase to damage on that mod if you use Summoner. So now Big Bang gets a massive buff to all those Archon and Summoner builds that were already using Big Bang or the Starshot. But now if you pair it with Energized Net Coil, Big Bang does do fire damage. If you can get the Starshot Big Bang with 5 charges to proc Energized Net Coil, it will do 20,000 damage. Yes, I'm not joking. It does about 17 to 20,000 damage. I'm not really sure if that's the energized net coil or the Big Bang. Either way, something in the calculation, something with Big Bang does do insane amounts of damage. I would like to also add that is with Chaos Gate up, not so if you don't have it up, you're not going to get that insane amount of damage. But again, the 50% increase to all damage from Chaos Gate is going to double dip. So you're going to get 50% off mod, you're going to get 50% on explosion, you're going to get 50% on status effect damage. So Chaos Gate was already really strong, but it is insane how much Chaos Gate can actually get energized net coil to hit for. I have gone and thrown the Harmonizer mutator on here. This is going to increase our mod damage even more and also try and generate more mod power for our stowed weapon. Moving on over to the jewelry, I think I've spoken enough about the energized net coil. I think you're probably sick of me saying that word. But yes, we are using this necklace. We're also taking the probability core to increase our crit damage by 30%. Next up, we have the Timekeeper's Jewel. Now this is going to be crucial to this build. Timekeeper's Jewel paired up with the Ritualist trait card is how energized net coil is able to do so much damage. So the Timekeeper's Jewel and the Ritualist trait card is a must if you want to do as much damage as possible with the net coil. We have Burden of the Destroyer, which is going to increase all our damage dealt by 15%. Again, this ring is going to double dip. Anything that does all damage now is insane with the energized net coil. Now last but not least, we have Burden of the Gambler. This is going to disable weak spots, but it's going to increase our critical strike chance by 10% and our crit damage by 20%. This is going to be really good because our explosives cannot hit weak spots anyway. The Star Shot, you can aim it at a weak spot and hit a weak spot, but overall the explosion damage cannot hit a weak spot. So this is just why we're trying to boost our crit and also our crit damage. But realistically, I think the Stone of Malevolence, it just flows a hell lot better. If you want to get Star Shot back instantly and just keep spamming it with Witchfire and the Aphelion mod, Stone of Malevolence is definitely going to be the way to go. It just flows a hell of a lot better. But if you want to see the biggest numbers you can, put on Burden of the Gambler. Moving on over to the traits, guys, we do have Affliction maxed out. We do have 5 points into ammo reserves. We've maxed out Fortify. We've got 8 points into Kinship. This is also very crucial if you do not want to blow yourself up every 2 seconds. I've got 2 points into Strong Back just to wear the drip that I'm wearing. I've maxed out Vigor. I've got 8 points into Endurance. I've got 7 points into Spirit. This is going to help us not need the Stone of Malevolence, but if you do put it on, you're going to get some insane mod generation now. I've got 5 points into Amplitude. This is going to help you do more AoE damage with your mods. And also, Amplitude does not increase the net coil's explosion radius. So that's why I've kind of not put so much into Amplitude as well. Like Star Shot, big explosion. The Aphelion, big explosion. The Witchfire shoots a big flaming line. Like, I don't really need that much more AoE. So that's the main reason why I've only put 5 points in here, just to have a little bit more AoE, plus it works with Chaos Gate as well. Max out Bark Skin, more damage reduction. Put 5 points into Blood Bond to help our summons take some damage for us. And then last but not least, of course, maxing out Siphoner. Now, when you do the explosions with the Energized Net Coil, I think it counts as base damage. I don't know, because when you get Net Coil to explode, you're going to see a lot of health come back, and that's from Siphoner. When you use Death Wish, you pretty much fill your health bar instantly. If you're down at 1 HP and you get an ENC proc, whoop, health all the way back up. So I think it's counting as base damage from the Net Coil as well, which is insane because, yeah, when you get those explosions happening, you're just going to top yourself up instantly. And that is basically, guys, hopefully this build video did help you guys out. This build is a lot of fun. It absolutely vaporizes bosses. Like, this has got to be one of the quickest boss killing builds that I've actually put together. And I know the main reason for that is the Star Shot. We all know the Star Shot is really strong, but when you pair it up with Energized Net Coil, it gets even stronger. And now I'm just waiting until the DLC comes out. I don't think I'm going to have any more build videos. I'm just waiting for even more content to come out for Remnant 2. I do have some corrupted weapons I still need to get, but that's definitely going to be a grind. That's a long way away. But we do literally have Dragon's Dogma in like 2 weeks, and I'm incredibly excited for that game, so I'm going to be doing a lot of content on that. But if the DLC does come out, you know I'm definitely going to jump back over to Remnant 2 and try that out, because I absolutely love this game. I think Remnant 2 is definitely a hidden gem of 2023. Appreciate all the love and support as always, guys, and until next time, stay safe, peace out.